The following video is part of the Writing Center's Dirty Dozen Workshop series. Specifically, this video covers Subject-Verb Agreement. Let's take a look at an example. Which sentence is correct? Packing your own lunches save money, or packing your own lunches saves money. The second option is our winner. Although lunches may look like the subject, packing your own lunches is what actually saves money. Remember, the subject and verb of each clause must agree in number. So what do agree and number actually mean? Our subjects and verbs must match or agree in number, and in English, thankfully, we only have two numbers to remember, singular and plural. The basic rule is singular subjects must have singular verbs, and plural subjects must have plural verbs. Let's consider our first example again. We decided the second choice is the correct answer because the subject phrase, packing your own lunches, is singular. Therefore, the verb must also be singular. Saves is a singular verb. Most subject-verb agreement errors occur when dealing with present tense singular verbs like this. We intuitively think of s and es as plural, but this rule applies to nouns, not verbs, as we will see. Present tense verbs require an s or an es at the end of the verb when the subject performing the action is third person singular, i.e. he, she, it, or is a word for which these pronouns could substitute. For example, girl and she are interchangeable. Here are some examples of sentences with third person singular subjects and verbs. She goes to town. He causes trouble. The girl thinks the earth is flat. Here's a handy tip for determining whether a verb is plural or singular. Ask yourself which form of the verb you would use after the subject it, and which form you would use with the subject they. It uses singular verbs. They uses plural verbs. There are many rules of subject-verb agreement. Let's look at them, starting with the most common. By the way, all of the examples in this section are correct. Rule number 1. A subject and a verb must agree even when other words or phrases come between them. The flock of geese is flying south for the winter. The subject is flock, which is singular, so the verb should be is flying. You ignore the prepositional phrase of geese when determining verb number. Rule number 2. Subjects joined by and usually take a plural verb. For example, Dave and Bree went on a date. Here we could substitute they for Dave and Bree, so we know the following verb must be plural. However, there is an exception to this rule. For phrases like each girl and boy or every cat and bird, where the subjects are considered individually, use a singular verb. For example, each actor and actress had a line in the play. Rule number 3 tells us that collective nouns, which are words that refer to groups of people or things like class, family, jury, or herd, can either be singular or plural depending on the context of the sentence. Here's how it works. If the context of the sentence makes you visualize the group doing something together as one unit, then the noun is singular and takes a singular verb. If you visualize different members of the group performing different actions, then the noun is plural and takes a plural verb. Let's use the noun group as an example of Rule 3 in action. The group agrees that new curtains would improve the space. In this first sentence, the group is acting as a unit, so the word group is singular. The old group have gone their separate ways. Here, the group members are acting individually, so the word group is plural. Rule number 4 tells us that when the subject is an indefinite pronoun like all, any, more, most, none, and some, the subject can be either singular or plural depending on whether the word they refer to is singular or plural. For example, all the cupcake batter gets poured into a greased pan. Here, the subject all refers to batter, which is singular. Or, all the cupcakes are topped with cream cheese frosting. Here, the subject all refers to cupcakes, which is plural. Rule number 5. The indefinite pronouns each, either, every, much, and neither require singular verbs. For example, each of us has enormous potential to succeed in life. Now let's look at rule number 6. The indefinite pronouns both, few, many, and several take plural verbs. For example, both of us have enormous potential to succeed in life. Rule number 7 states that the verb must agree with its subject even when the subject follows the verb. Questions, sentences beginning with here or there, and sometimes sentences beginning with a prepositional phrase place the subject after the verb. Here are some examples of sentences that illustrate rule number 7. Note in each case how the subject comes after the verb. Rule number 8 tells us that subjects that look plural because they end in s, but refer to only one thing, are singular. Examples of this are words like lens and economics. Rule number 9. Some nouns, such as glasses, pliers, scissors, and trousers, are considered plural unless they are preceded by the phrase pair of. For example, my trousers require tailoring, or this pair of trousers requires tailoring. Finally, rule number 10 states that in the case of subjects joined by or nor, the verb should agree with the subject closer to it. For example, neither the principal nor the teachers like the new budget cuts. Or, either her brothers or Tammy waters the front lawn every day. This concludes our quick and dirty dozen video on subject-verb agreement. To learn about pronoun antecedent errors and vague pronoun use, watch the next video.